Attribute A to B. Attribute A to B. In the face of. In the face of. Attend to. Attend to. Out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Pass up. Pass up. Clear A of B. Clear A of B. Live up to. Live up to. Yield to. Yield to. Call it a day. Call it a day. Be absorbed in. Be absorbed in. Bring on. Bring on. Only a few. Only a few. Quite a few. Quite a few. Lose sight of. Lose sight of. Be down to. Be down to. At any rate. At any rate. Be reluctant to do. Be reluctant to do. Now that. Now that. Aside from. Aside from. It is no use ing. It is no use ing. Strive for. Strive for. Give rise to. Give rise to. Call for. Call for. An army of. An army of. Be accompanied by. Be accompanied by. Of necessity. Of necessity. As for. As for. Be stuck in. Be stuck in. Cut back on. Cut back on. Enter into. Enter into. Behind the wheel. Behind the wheel. Go along with. Go along with. Get along. Get along. In excess of. In excess of. Let alone. Let alone. Nothing more than. Nothing more than. Trial and error. Trial and error. At work. At work. Beside oneself. Beside oneself. So far as be concerned. So far as be concerned. Correspond to. Correspond to. Not to mention. Not to mention. Be worthy of. Be worthy of. In essence. In essence. Give way to. Give way to. Pride oneself on. Pride oneself on. Contrary to. Contrary to. Inherit from. Inherit from. Lose one's temper. Lose one's temper. A majority of. A majority of. A minority of. A minority of. Go about. Go about. Refrain from ing. Refrain from ing. Resort to. Resort to. Around the clock. Around the clock. Be short of. Be short of. Be liable to do. Be liable to do. Break new ground. Break new ground. Hold on to. Hold on to. Substitute for be. Substitute for be. Be compelled to do. Be compelled to do. Keep pace with. Keep pace with. Play a role. Play a role. Feed on. Feed on. Be typical of. Be typical of. Transform A into B. Transform A into B. On the basis of. On the basis of. Struggle with. Struggle with. In distress. In distress. Let go of. Let go of. Blow up. Blow up. Relieve A of B. Relieve A of B. Be comparable to. Be comparable to. And so forth. And so forth. Come into effect. Come into effect. Have a regard for. Have a regard for. Be convinced of. Be convinced of. At a time. At a time. At times. At times. At all times. At all times. In relation to. In relation to. In principle. In principle. Be entitled to do. Be entitled to do. Work from home. Work from home. On top of. On top of. Be dedicated to. Be dedicated to. Identify A with B. Identify A with B. Identify A as B. Identify A as B. A handful of. A handful of. Given that. Given that. Serve as. Serve as. Come to an end. Come to an end. Pros and cons. Pros and cons. Be meant to do. Be meant to do. To some extent. To some extent. Hang out. Hang out. Compensate for. Compensate for. A great deal of. A great deal of. At the moment. At the moment. Be caught in. Be caught in.